The Libernovo Maxis is bigger, taller, and more expensive than the Libernovo Omni chair. But honestly, you probably don't need it. I'm 6 foot, 6'2" on Tinder, and it's actually not right for me. But my girlfriend's a few inches shorter than me, and she loves it. So while every other Maxis review is calling this the new best chair for big and tall people, I don't think it's that simple. Because your height alone isn't always the best way to decide. But I'll walk you through a simple 4-step process to figure out if you should buy it or if you'd be better off saving money on a different model. And no games here. Here's exactly what's coming up. First, we need to figure out if your body actually needs a Maxis. Then, whether you still want one after I tell you what's wrong with it. If you do want it, I'll help you pick which of the 3 versions to get, and if you don't, I'll point you to the Libernovo model that's actually right for you. By the way, Libernovo sent me this chair to test ahead of launch. No strings attached, no sponsorship fees, so all these are my honest, unfiltered thoughts. Now, most of the sponsored Libernovo Maxis reviews are saying it's built for people 5'10" to 6'7". If you're in that range, great, buy it. But that is brutally oversimplifying things. I'm about 6 foot, 175 pounds, so somewhere in the middle of the target range, and even the fully loaded Maxis isn't my favorite chair from Libernovo. Whereas my girlfriend is like 5'10", not gonna guess how many pounds, but she's at the very bottom of the target range, and she loves the Maxis. Similar heights, completely different experiences. So I'd say that 5'10" to 6'7" height range is the range where Libernovo Maxis could make sense, not where it will make sense. So step 1 in our decision process is figuring out if you actually need the Maxis. And first, let's just wrap up the whole height thing. My current opinion after receiving tons of comments and emails about the original is that people under 5'10" usually shouldn't get this, except for one exception we'll cover in a minute. People in the 5'10" to 6'2" range are in the gray area where it might be a great fit. And people 6'3" and taller, those big, beautiful jerks, they probably genuinely do need the Maxis. And I guess if you're any taller than that, you gotta sit out in the yard with Clifford. But height is only one piece of the puzzle. If you weigh between 300 to 400 pounds, you do need the Maxis. The other Libernovo Omni models can't hold more than 300 pounds, but the Maxis has a wider, sturdier, upgraded aluminum alloy base and reinforced frame and recline system, so it can hold up to 400 pounds. If you weigh more than that, you need more vegetables in your diet, respectfully. So those are the people who structurally require the Maxis. If that's you, I'll help you choose which model to get in a bit. If not, it's time to start thinking about your femur length, because some tall people are built like meerkats with their height coming from their torso, and others are all legs. These people might find that their legs extend too far beyond the 48 centimeter seat edge of the regular Libernovo Omni and prefer the 4 extra centimeters of seat depth on the Libernovo Maxis. But even this comes down to personal preference, because when I'm sitting in the regular Libernovo chair, my legs do go past the edge of the seat by like an inch or 2, but it's never bothered me, and frankly, I never even really noticed it until I saw other people complaining about it. But my girlfriend hates her legs hanging over the edge and says it makes her legs go numb after a while. Frankly, I'm kind of bummed that they didn't just offer a deeper seat option on the other Libernovo models, so if they do it in the future, just remember, I patented the idea first. Either way, the issue of seat depth on any chair can be mostly resolved just by reclining a bit and using a footrest, so it's a pretty easy fix regardless. But there is one big benefit that you can't get from the other models, and that is the ability to sit cross-legged in the chair, which is, for some reason, how every pretty girl sits while driving. The Maxis is a lot more spacious than the other models, so if you know you want to sit that way or you just love feeling engulfed by a big chair, this is when I could honestly recommend the Maxis, even to my short kings under 5'10". But while the Libernovo Maxis is a lot more spacious and does add some premium features, it's definitely not a straight upgrade. So the next step is figuring out whether or not you still want one after seeing all the new features, because some things are better and some things are worse. The biggest structural improvements present in all 3 Maxis models are the reinforced frame and recline system, which can handle a lot more weight now, and the aluminum alloy base, which is a lot nicer and sturdier than the standard nylon base. These are pretty objectively positive upgrades, but almost everything about the Libernovo Maxis is also taller and wider. The seat cushion is wider, deeper, firmer, and thicker than every other Libernovo chair to leave space for bigger bodies and hold its shape longer under greater weight. The back cushion is wider and taller to better support broad backs and shoulders. The armrests are longer, farther apart, and curved now, and the entire height of the chair, including how far the headrest itself can extend, is now all taller. If you're looking for a big and tall chair, these are mostly straight benefits. However, those won't be benefits for everyone. First off, while the armrests are great, they still adjust up, down, left, right, forward, back, and pivot to different angles. Because the whole chair is wider, the armrests are now farther apart. Now, even at their closest position when you pull them in toward the chair, there's still a considerably larger gap between them than on the other chairs. This is going to be great for anyone with broader shoulders or a thick back, but if you have slimmer shoulders with a narrow frame, you might have to really pull those armrests in, potentially to the point where they're smushed against the chair. But my biggest gripe with the Maxis is honestly just that I find it to be a much less aesthetically pleasing chair than the other models. The others have these nice hourglass contours, and by comparison, the Maxis just looks kind of... And I've also noticed that the wider back also makes it harder to reach behind you, just in case that's important to you. But if those things don't turn you off from the Libernovo Maxis, and it makes sense for you based on your height, weight, leg length, or sitting preferences, it's time to decide which of the 3 Maxis models is right for you. If it's none of them, we'll talk about your other options in just a minute, but if you do wind up buying either a Libernovo Maxis or any other Libernovo chair, I'll drop some affiliate links down in the description below that will auto-update with whatever the current best deal is, and using those links helps support the channel at no extra cost to you, which I always appreciate because it helps me to continue creating unsponsored content like this in my own voice without any brand having a say in my scripts. So, there are currently 3 different options for the Libernovo Maxis. If they ever add more by the time you're watching this, don't panic, I'll just update the description down below to reflect what my opinions on those are. But right now, their top-end model, the full-featured option, is this Maxis Airflow. This is the exact one I just showed you, so it's got everything you've seen so far. And the fabric on this one is higher quality than the other versions, so it will feel a bit nicer and hopefully be more durable against daily booty friction. Speaking of your booty, the Maxis Airflow is also the only Maxis model with a fan underneath that sucks hot air down through the chair and away from your booty. So if you tend to get hot or sweat from sitting all day, or if you just don't want to bask in your own farts, this could be the way to go if you've got the money for it. One step down from this is the Maxis Electric. On this one, there's no cooling fan in the seat, but it still has all the other electronic features such as the motorized lumbar support and the spinal stretching massage with the standard fabric rather than the premium. Overall, that's a great chair. It's just missing some of the bells and whistles found in the Maxis Airflow, but it's also a few $100 cheaper than the Maxis Airflow. Finally, there's the Maxis Manual. This one is almost the same as the middle ground Maxis Electric, except for with this one, they removed the electrical components altogether and shaved another few $100s off the price. So no fan in the seat, no spinal stretch massage, and the lumbar gets manually adjusted. So if you're on a budget or just not interested in the electronic features, this is your guy. But if none of those appeal to you, Libernovo also makes some other chairs that might. And again, I'll drop a little cheat sheet down in the description with discount links, so don't forget to use those if they help. But all the other Libernovo models are legitimately fantastic and could make sense for people not specifically searching for big and tall chairs like the Maxis. On all of them, the headrest is legitimately the best I've ever used and more intuitive and adjustable than any other chairs. And Libernovo's variable set recline positions with dynamic moving parts like the armrests, which glide back with you as you recline, make it an absolute beast of a chair for mixed use work and gaming sessions. Libernovo didn't go viral and become the most popular chair of the year for nothing. And I've tried all the new models for over a month at this point, but believe it or not, the regular Libernovo Omni I've been sitting on for the past 8 months is actually still my favorite. It's got all the core features I love without any fluff. It's good enough for me, and it's the one I recommend to most people. But if you liked the premium features I showed you on the Libernovo Maxis, you know, the aluminum alloy base, a premium fabric and cushions, and the in-seat fan, then you're gonna wanna go for the Libernovo Omni Pro, which is basically the souped up version of the regular Libernovo Omni. And if all of these are just a little bit too expensive for you, then you should take a look at the Libernovo Omni SE, which, like the Maxis Manual, is the cheaper, non-electric version, but for the standard size chair. And if you're still on the fence, don't worry, I know it can be confusing, but I promise I can still help you figure this out. Just check out this video here. We can go a little deeper into some of the other chairs together and figure out what really makes sense for you.